The Seattle Mariners get their first win of the season. It comes on Apple TV, just in case you missed it. But man, it was a good one.
Baseball stuff!
Let's go. Such a better feeling to have this conversation right here on Hold My Trident. The Seattle Mariners take down the Cleveland Guardians to get their first win of the season, 5-1. George Kirby looked great. We'll talk about him. We had a lot of things to talk about in this one. Did everybody look good? Cole Young did. There's some really fun things in this one. Luke Raley, he's healthy. A lot of fun things to talk about on this one. Gavin Height, Kyle Knowles joins me. I'm Christian Rao on this episode of Hold My Trident. Kyle, I'm going to throw it to you because you weren't with us yesterday. Maybe you're the good luck charm. You got to start showing up. If you continue to come to the podcast every single day, it looks like we'll be 161-1. But man, what an outing for the Mariners here. They get their first win of the season. Just overall feeling of this game.
Well, first off, if that happens, I might be over one with a wife, but we'll go there.
Let's pause. Would you trade a wife for a world? No, I'm just kidding.
No joke. No.
Play the fifth. We'll just play the fifth there. No, this was a great all-around win where we still left a lot on the table. Kirby, I thought he got too cute. I thought he was trying to be really cute with a lot of pitches. I mean, the guy does not walk two people and then hit a third. It just, to me, his stuff is so nasty. It's like, we talk about the Mariners mindset, right? Throw it down the middle, let the ball move. He is the prime example of that, of just F you, my stuff is better than you, and just let it happen. And we have a really good defense, so let's let that play for you. But tonight, loved it. You saw, I think, the bottom of the order really coming through as we've seen the 2, 3, 4 hitters really struggling. I thought Cole Young yesterday for having 3 Ks, he was so close. 1 K, that was a ball. The other 2, he was right there. And then today you saw exactly what I was hoping, just a little bit of an adjustment. Now, I did kind of laugh when he says, I just wanted to put the ball in play. Well, technically, you didn't put it in play. You put it out of play. Which I'm all for. Raley, again, this was a guy, this is what we saw tonight and what we've seen yesterday is why we were so excited when we traded for him, because of what he could do. I think it's kind of that Brendan Donovan scenario, great bat to ball guy, but with a little more pop. So I'm loving that, and having that bottom of the order really picking us up when right now our superstars, they're struggling. And I think they're just, and again, they struggled in the WBC. They haven't really had that chance to reset. But those guys are going to have to carry us, just like last year where it was that trade-off of pitching's going to carry, then they're going to falter, then the hitting's going to carry. So I like seeing just throughout the game, you're seeing the hitters were scoring runs throughout the game. We even did it yesterday. Where I think years past we would score a bunch early and then we just completely flatline. So I love the makeup of this team. The bottom of the order is picking up the top of the order. The pitching has been very, very solid. So all in all, great win. And I think this is hopefully this is the kind of the pattern we see moving forward.
Well, hopefully it's not the pattern. Hopefully the pattern is more than 82 or 81 and 81. We need to get another win here to continue on. I get what you're saying, though. Just want to throw some funnies at it. Before we talk more about George Kirby, because I do want to dive into his numbers just a little bit. I want to get to that in just a second. Gavin, I think we have to discuss, we got some home runs again, just like we got 4 in yesterday's matchup. We got 2 here. I don't know if you knew this, but runners on base, when you score home runs, actually get you more runs. We found that out tonight. We didn't find that out in yesterday's game. Luke Raley looked great. When he's healthy, he's fantastic. And not only did Cole Young get that nice home run to really continue to show that he can have that power, he also had a really nice web gem at the beginning of the game too. It's fun watching these youngsters, and dare I say, other than the superstars in this lineup, start to step up early. When those superstars are struggling, you get the rest of the lineup to step up for them. That's some good things. At the very least, you have that going for you.
Yeah, I'll start with the negative right now. 2, 3, 4 hitters, Julio, Josh Naylor, and Cal, 0 for 22, 12 strikeouts through the first 2 games. Is it time to hit a panic button by any means? No, it's not. It is just something to just take note of and be like, okay, let's do some dissecting. Let's find out what's going on between these 3 guys. Looks like Knowlesy hit it on the head when we were talking right before we jumped on here. Cal's getting beat up and in, and it looks like the analytics are out. They're going to hit him up and in with 90, 95 to 99. And that's what Gavin Williams did. And he did a phenomenal job of it. I am a big Gavin Williams fan. He did a great job. So he did his homework. He came out and he partied. So getting past the negative news, when part of your lineup is down, the other part of your lineup is starting to pick it up. They're starting to get their opportunities and really capitalize on it. It was just so much fun to see. We're down JP Crawford, and we have Leo Rivas, who I believe worked the 3-2 count and still found a way to hit it should have been caught. I'll say that much, but he ended up finding a way to get a triple out of it. And then we rotate back to the top of the lineup and we can't score him. That one was a little bit frustrating. However, it's early in the season. We found a way to win. Okay, you scrap it. You learn from your mistakes and go on. More positive news. Yeah, George Kirby. Kyle, I kind of agree. I think in some cases he got a little stubborn, maybe a little too cute, and said, "Hey, I'm going to see if this can't work." Made the one mistake to chase the lauder, but I mean, again, hats off. There's not a lot of analytics on the guy at the major league level. So yeah, I mean, it's hats off to the guy for just, I guess, being good. It was a mistake by Kirby, sure, but it's more on Chase DeLauder really playing some good baseball. And this kid's going to be very good to watch. James Madison University right there. 3
home runs in 2 games. I mean, that's impressive no matter who you are, but doing it really in your first couple games of your career. Yeah, we know that he got the playoff starts last year, got called up for the playoffs, but this is really truly his debut. Let's be serious with that. That's super impressive what he's doing. And the fact that they kind of brought him up to the playoffs with not really having a look at him, it shows why they did that, because he's just been absolutely insane. I sent a text to you guys in the group chat when he hit the home run. I said, "Are you serious? Are we doing this again? Like first inning solo home run?" I usually don't mind solo home runs, and in this case, I didn't. Right, but overall, it's frustrating when the same person gets you.
It was the first inning,
again.
And
you can't.
It just led the game off.
Right? You can't walk.
Well, look who he's doing it off of.
Yeah,
I mean,
Logan Gilbert and George Kirby.
I know it's a small sample size, but you're doing it off some of the best pitchers in the American League, maybe in baseball today. So, hats off to the guy. You're dead to me in a couple days, but while we're here, maybe we'll pitch him outside a little bit, because I think he's owning the middle part of the zone.
Gavin Williams felt pesky in this one. He had a career high of 6 walks. He did have 7 strikeouts. And other than the Cole Young home run, I mean, he obviously allowed traffic on base. A lot of it to Randy Arozarena. Randy Arozarena, I felt like walked every single time. I think in his 3 walks, he only saw 1 strike in those 3 walks. It was incredible that he was just how it was going for him. But Gavin Williams felt pesky still, even though he allowed so much base traffic. And to be completely honest, if this was any other pitcher on the mound that allowed that much pitching or that much, base on balls, I feel like this one would have got way more out of control than 5-1. Kyle, what do you think about that?
I think it shows you how good he is, where I think maybe he's, again, kind of like Kirby, getting cute, trying to work on something. Maybe it's, hey, the scouting report says this, so I'm going to try to, implement it, or I'm going to go against the grain and try something different just based on kind of the feel of the game and just not go his way. You saw some pitches that absolutely buffoon people. I think the Brendan Donovan strikeout, I mean, that guy has a great eye, and that pitch was filthy. And it's just a testament to the pitchers themselves. But again, if you look at Gavin, what was it, 6 walks to 7 strikeouts? When he needed to bear down and get outs, he got them. So to your point, I don't think other pitchers, your standard run-of-the-mill pitcher, it's a long day for them at the office. But for someone like Gavin, probably someone like Kirby, when they really know, hey, I need to bear down and get this done, you kind of see the results. But I think it's early on, and I think a lot of times too, they only get so many starts in spring training, so they're still trying to work on stuff. And now it's real now it's real life at bats, and you're seeing these starting lineups now. You're not facing the AA guy that just came up for the first time. So they're trying new things out early on. I think it's kind of that just call it extended spring training, if you may.
Well, I wanted to also capitalize on that as well, because you bring up a good point. I think Gavin Williams, he was able to get outs, but as harsh as I've been on the top of the order, just because the blatant stats that we don't see, they have been pushing the counts. There were so many 3-ball counts through the first handful of innings, and a lot of it was the top of the order kind of pushing those 3-ball counts. I believe the middle of the order had a handful of 3-ball counts. They just ended up getting strikeouts or outs and just not being productive in the middle. And then towards the end, a lot of that as well. And then a handful of them turned into walks. So I want to credit this offense and just their eye at the plate. Shout out Edgar. I'm pretty sure owning the zone is definitely taking precedence here, and also having that, I guess, semi-safety net. I say semi-safety net because we saw what happened tonight. I say semi-safety net of having the ABS to have your back. However, this was one of the first cases of, I think it was 0 for 8 or 0 for 6 in that, or sorry, I want to say it the more positive way. 6 confirmed calls. Shout out to the umpire Little. He did a phenomenal job behind home plate. He called a great game. And the last time I did see a tweet saying the last time that it happened was actually in a minor league game with the Tacoma Rainiers, where 6 confirmed calls happened. So great job from behind home plate. And this is what you're going to probably see. You're going to see major league umpires lock in even harder and just making sure that they're on it. So want to give a shout out and just give that little tidbit on the ABS and how it's playing out.
It does ask a question. I was gonna say, it does ask a question though, of kind of like in slow pitch, right? Like kind of progression of a home run. If some team hits a home run, then the other team gets a home run, and after that it kind of progresses. If both teams are out of challenges, do you get to now give them back one?
Get your progression.
Kind of a progression to me, because you look at some of those plays. The Cal Raleigh strikeout at the end of the game, that was not a strike, and would have been nice. Would have been nice to have him tap the helmet. Now, would he have? I don't know. I feel like he doesn't. I feel like he's almost refused to use it in some cases. But to me, like when I think it's a good part of the game, because there's been so many. There's monumental, and we've seen it throughout the years. That was not a strike, or that was definitely a strike. And having that again when both teams are out, it's not so. If team has, there's a strategy to that too, right? Hey, we have one left, but if we get it wrong, now we're giving the other team one. There's a little strategy to it. To me, that's kind of an exciting part. If you're going to bring this is now a part of baseball. Let's add a little bit of that late inning. Not going to go to the golden bat rule, but just a little bit different kind of. Hey,
Angel Hernandez needed it the most.
Late in the game. To me, that's just something to think about. It'd be actually kind of a nice little thing to add, but I'll digress. Christian, to you.
I get what you're saying. I was thinking about this too as well. Like maybe like after the stretch, they only go to the booth, kind of like how the NFL has replays under 2 minutes. But then it completely changes the feeling of the 2 challenges, right? You only have 7 innings to use them instead of 9.
Part
I
of the
kind
game
of
plan.
like the gamble. Right? It changes the game plan. I kind of like the gamble. If you do them early and you lose them, you don't have them for the rest of the game. I mean, it doesn't really change.
But in overtime, you get them back, right? You get an extra one back. So it's kind of
and if they go to extra innings, they do get 1 per inning. So there's that.
Yeah,
they do get 1 per inning. Yes. So there is stuff if they progress, which is why like you empty the clip in the 9th inning, or at least so to speak, you're supposed to empty the clip in the 9th inning if it's a tie ball game. That was supposed to be the game plan, or at least that's what was talked about by the pundits. Going into this year is and why the ABS is going to be so important. How you have to navigate and play it a little bit differently. And to your point, do you empty the clip at the beginning of the game and gamble, or do you save them until the end? We saw it actually the first game. There was a lot of calls early in the game that no one was tapping their helmet because they're like, you know what? I'm scared to kind of use these now. I want to be able to have these later. And then we ended up, I don't think there was that many uses in the first game. What
plate appearance is more important? Runners with scoring position in the top of the first, or bases empty in the bottom of the 8th, right? What kind of value do they each have? I mean, you could make the argument that there's more value because there's runners in scoring position at the beginning of the game compared to the game, the one in the 8th inning where there's nobody on base. You can definitely have an argument. That's gonna be the really cool part about how each team handled this. And for the record, if I'm a betting man and you speak about Kyle Raleigh, kind of putting out the thought process of like, will he use them? If I was a gambling man, I would say that with the exception of obviously when they're on defense, I bet the catchers, when they're batting, will be the least used. They'll use them the absolute least because I think there's a relationship, an unspoken relationship
There is.
between the catchers and the umps that you don't want to call his bluff because if he gets it wrong, there's this weird feeling that, okay, now I'm going to probably make his box a little shorter when it's up to bat the next time around. So I think it's going to be really exciting when that analytics and that data comes out at the end of the season, and they're going to have that stat. I bet you the catchers are at the bottom when it comes to offensive calls by them. Speaking of, I'm a gambling man, Kyle, who's your MVP of this game, and tell me why it's Rhys Hoskins.
Thank you, Rhys.
Yeah, I think it's a toss up between Cole and Raley. I mean, I think Cole probably takes it just because of the defense. I mean, now Raley had a good play too in the outfield, but I think Cole is really kind of showing what that he's expected to be. And honestly, I loved Ben Williamson. Ben Williamson didn't have the pop, had the speed, had the glove. I think Cole Young is kind of, and I don't think people expected Cole Young to kind of have the pop he does have. I mean, you think about last year when he hit that moonshot to the upper deck. I don't think anyone thought he had that. And then you see here going, the guy's got a good bat. And I think it's just him getting dialed in, which, as I said earlier, yesterday, I know he struck out 3 times, but he was there. I mean, it's just a quick adjustment. And you see what happens when they finally when hitters get dialed in and they finally get that good swing, it's fun because it's like, oh, here we go. And I think we're about to see a good run from Cole Young at the plate.
One last thing before we get to what's next and talk about tomorrow's matchup, the bullpen, Gavin, Bizzarro, Brash, Muñoz. We saw the setup that we normally see in games that usually end with a W. What was your overall take on the bullpen tonight?
Yeah, I forgot to mention this towards the beginning of the game when I was going through a lot of what I liked. The pitchers, they held them to 4 hits on the game. This is impressive. Whole lot different than just a night ago. George Kirby obviously having just the 2 hits, and then Edward Bizzarro, maybe not lights out. He did give up 1 walk, but collected a strikeout. Almost had a clean inning. We got to see Matt Brash, which was awesome. He gave up just the 1 hit. Andres Muñoz just gave up the 1 hit, collected 2 strikeouts. Yeah, this is what the Mariners bullpen looks like. I was very excited when they got Cole Wilcox going up in the bullpen. I wanted to see what he would do, and with a 5-1 lead, this might have been the time to maybe take a chance on it. Because what if it's a 3-2 game tomorrow and you got to go back to Mooney? And you'd like to not early in the season go back to back with your closer, but if you have to, you have to. But in a 5-1 game, it's not a save opportunity. I may have liked to have seen Cole Wilcox. However, I'm more infatuated with a W. So I'm not going to hold it too hard against Dan and company for just going out and collecting the win and going with your best strength. So excited to see what the rest of this bullpen can shape out. I think we're going to have a little bit better of an idea of who's going to be more impactful over the course of probably the next 20, 30 games. I did mention that probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 times over the last month. It's the first 20 to 30 games that you're really weeding guys out, calling guys up, giving guys shots. And Cooper Criswell, Cole Wilcox, these are guys that are just trying to make a name and trying to make a roster long term, not just for a couple of weeks and just get their cup of coffee and then head off to AAA or go off to somewhere else if they get lucky to make a major league roster. But so far, the bullpen tonight was lights out. I have nothing bad to say.
Kyle, I have a loaded question to get us to the final one here about what's next. We got Wu against Cantillo for the matchup for the 3rd game of the season. Cantillo's a lefty, so obviously the lineup's going to change a little bit. Here's my question here. Do you shake up the middle of the order? Does Cal Raleigh get an off day? Do you put Mitch Garver? I think is going to get in the lineup whether you play him DH or not because he does good against lefties. Do you give Cal a day to reset? Do you do that this early, even though you don't have an off day until Tuesday? What's your overall take about this? And we'll save the Woo conversation until next. But what's your overall take on this one? I mean, come on, Rivas had a triple in this game, top of the order, 0 outs, and that lineup, the meat of the order. In this case, it was Donovan, Raleigh, and Julio. Didn't get him in. So this is something that you really have to maybe address, maybe shake it up, even though it's this early in the season.
No, I think you bring up a really good question, and I think it leads to potentially another question. And I'll answer both. But the one thing I also want to bring in is, they talk about the longevity of Cal, just his knees, this and that. But it's also a mindset. Like, I think Cal's sitting there going, and he's talked about this in interviews. My job is to catch this staff. Hit is the second thing I do. Well, unfortunately, you're a really good hitter, but you're also a really good, manager of the game. Right now, you're managing the game just fine, but your hitting's not there. And it's kind of one of those, could we see him as a DH? So that way, all you get to do today is just focus on bat to ball and not worry about the staff. Let Garver deal with that. Early in the season, I don't think that's a problem at all, because what do you want? I mean, if it's going to rain soon, I need to mow. I'm not going to, try to dilly-dally. I want the goddamn mower to turn on and get that going. So however that's going to get that to the, to my ending destination of putting it away with a nice mowed lawn, that's what I want to get to. So for Cal, hey, you're catching great. You're not hitting worth a damn. I need that to get revved up. So we're going to put you as a DH. So that way you can get your timing down and get everything else figured out. And then we slot you back to what you do best. So hopefully I answered both questions there, but yes, I guess
you
at the end of the day.
You answered more than that question. You also put a beautiful picture in my mind of screw baseball. The reason to tell that spring is in the air is that Kyle is ready to get his white New Balances on and go mow the damn yard. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm ready to rock and roll with. Cantillo, a left-handed pitcher's got a 4 pitch mix, 4-seamer, changeup, curveball, slider. Over the 2024 to 2025, he increased that changeup quite a bit percentage-wise. Fastball fell a little bit in usage, but still uses the fastball about 42% of the time. I'll throw that same question to you, Gavin, about, should they mix up the lineup? We're probably going to see Refsnyder. We're probably going to see Garver. And then give me your take on Brian Wu in his first outing of the season coming up.
Yeah, I think you're going to see something of a mix up of a lineup. I don't know if they're going to the first 4 hitters. I don't know if they're going to mess with too much. I would be surprised. However, I'm not against it. Just seeing the slight decline in the first couple of days, I wouldn't be mad if they moved, Josh Naylor to 2 and then move Cal Raleigh maybe to like 5 or 6 and just, hey, just clear your head. Let's bat here. Let's just, change it up. Baseball is about finding a new seat when you're not doing so well. It's the most superstitious sport I've ever been a part of. So yeah, I'm okay if they do that. However, it's Major League Baseball. They want to get guys comfortable as well. So I could see it going either way. But yes, expect Rob Refsnyder. There's probably a pretty good chance somehow Mitch Garver gets entered into the game. If he doesn't start, if there's a lefty that comes out of the pen or just later in the game, you might see Mitch Garver at some point. But Refsnyder, 100%. I think you're going to see him at some point tomorrow, or not some point. I think he's going to be in the starting lineup tomorrow. Pivoting to Wu, man, I've been so high on this guy since we got him. I think he is a top 5 pitcher in Major League Baseball, and I'll stand by that. Even if I'm wrong at the end of the year, if he's a 4.5 plus ERA, then okay, it is what it is. I think he really is a top 5 pitcher. You put him up there with Garrett Crochet, you put him up there with some of those other guys. What he has that some of the other guys may not have is the K per 9. He has everything else, right? Like they all fill up the zone very well. They all have good mix of pitches. He has everything that George Kirby has, except he has, I guess, the element of surprise and location. It's not just filling up the zone. It's about just missing outside and getting guys to cue ball. It's about just missing outside and getting guys to swing through it. So he gets the better whiff rate. He gets the better strikeout rates. And I think that's what you're looking for. In 2026, I think that's what you're looking for out of your ace. So I expect a really good game from Woo tomorrow, and I'm very excited to get on the Woo train again. And even if he has a bad game, I'm still going to be riding that Woo train all the way to the postseason.
Over under half a home run for Chase DeLauter in the first inning tomorrow against Brian Woo. Kyle, over under.
I think Woo gets him, if he gets 3 at bats, I think he Ks him twice.
Let's go.
I really do. I just think if you look at all the home runs he's hit, those things were middle in, built high. I just think with Woo, I mean, Woo doesn't really throw a straight pitch. I mean, and I think that might be what kind of sets him apart from Kirby. Kirby, he throws that fast when he gets that 4-seam. There's a little bit of run, but it's just hard, but it's straight. And again, major league hitters, they can hit a hard straight ball 9 times out of 10. That's why they do what they're doing. It's the guys that can hit, the stuff that moves. But I think with Woo, none of his stuff is going to sit, where he starts it's never going to finish there. So to me, I think he becomes a problem. I think that's why he's been a problem since he's been healthy in the major league. So I would say Chase, if he gets 3 at bats against him, he'll probably just get to 2. I'm going to say it's 50% or more strikeouts in those at bats.
Love it. Absolutely love that. This is a Saturday night game, so don't worry, Kyle. You can mow your lawn tomorrow on Saturday. MLB TV is where this one is. We don't have Apple TV again, but you're going back to a non-MLB TV game on Sunday, so you can enjoy this one on Saturday, 6:40 p.m. Pacific time, where the Guardians take on the Mariners, hopefully going 2-1 on this one. Be sure to check out Up With Sports and Hold My Trident podcast as we continue to give you Mariners coverage every single day on the show. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening in audio, we thank you. Rate 5 stars if you can. And if you are listening in YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on the game. This has been the Hold My Trident podcast, a Seattle Mariners podcast. We'll see you back here next time.